Roll for Crit presents How to Play The Walking Dead No Sanctuary in 5 minutes or less or more. The Walking Dead No Sanctuary puts you in the post-apocalyptic world of The Walking Dead TV show, where you'll have to work together to take out walkers and such, designed by Adam and Brady Sadler and published by Cryptozoic. In each game of No Sanctuary, you'll have a different scenario with a different set of objectives. Complete these objectives in the order they're given to you, and you win! The scenario will also instruct you as to how you should arrange the map and how things like walkers and search decks should be arranged on the board. Each player starts with a survivor, matching figure, deck of cards, set of survivor tokens, and one trust token. Each survivor has a unique ability involving their survivor tokens that you should read. Everyone starts in a spot on the board according to the scenario setup. One player is randomly chosen to be the leader, and finally, everyone gets to draw 3 cards from their personal deck as their starting hand. Your deck represents unique actions available to your survivor as well as your health. Certain effects throughout the game will require you to exert, which means to either discard a card from your hand or from the top of your deck. If you must ever exert or play a card and you have none available, you're dead and it's game over for everybody. Players also lose if this morale track reaches 0, this event deck runs out, or a survivor is defeated in any other way. The game takes place over multiple rounds, and each round has 5 phases, starting off with the planning phase, during which everyone draws 1 new card. Then the leader draws 2 event cards from the event deck. The leader must read these 2 cards and decide which to make active and which to neglect. The neglected card goes into a discard pile, and its neglect effect triggers immediately, usually something bad. The active card goes onto the group sheet and offers a special effect or opportunity for the rest of the round. Each survivor can trigger this active ability once during this round. Event cards also have 3 colors, red, yellow, or green, that will matter later on. Once the event card is chosen, it's time for the survivor phase, when everyone actually gets to take their turns, starting with the leader and continuing clockwise. On your turn, first choose 1 card from your hand and place it face up in front of you. Survivor cards come in 3 colors, just like event cards. If the color of your card matches the active event card, you're doing what the leader wants and everything's fine. If it doesn't match, then the leader must take a stress token and place it on their character sheet. If the leader plays a non-matching card, then they have to spend a trust token from their personal supply. Once your card has been played, you can carry out 1 maneuver ability and 1 action. A maneuver is something you simply perform immediately, while an action requires you to roll dice to determine its outcome. Your maneuver options are as follows. Move. You can move up to 2 spaces in any direction, but not diagonally. If you've been knocked down by a game effect, you can also use the move action to stand up again. If you want to move out of a space with enemies in it, you must exert 1 for each enemy there. Hide. Hiding reduces the threat level by 1, which affects the walker phase later on. If you hide in a space with no enemies, you can also discard a stress token. Focus. Gain 1 focus token, which you can use during dice rolls. Resource. Use this maneuver to make use of one of the 3 resource types if your group has managed to find some during the game and stored them on your group sheet. Spending a food token lets you heal by shuffling 2 random cards from your discard pile back into your main deck. Material lets you build a barricade on the wall of a building in your current space, and ammunition raises the threat level by 1, but lets you defeat 1 walker within line of sight. Buildings, outlined in orange, block line of sight. Next are your actions. There are 3 different types of actions: attack, interact, and coordinate. Each survivor also has a rating in each of these 3 categories. This tells you how many action dice you need to roll when performing an action of this type. First, each action has a basic function that gets carried out right away. Then you have to roll the action dice to determine any additional effects. There are 3 different symbols on an action die. Each check mark represents a success, and you can use a success to carry out one of the abilities listed for your action. This could be the same ability multiple times if you get multiple successes. This eye symbol represents focus. If you have a focus token, you can spend 1 to convert a focus symbol into a success. Then there's the exert symbol. If you'd like, you can exert 1 to convert this into a success as well. Also make note of the symbol in the top left corner of the card that you played at the beginning of your turn. If that symbol matches the symbol of the type of action you're carrying out, then you get to convert exert symbols into successes for free as your exert bonus. Now, your played card will feature an action or a maneuver, but you don't have to choose those actions or maneuvers if you don't want to. You have 3 generic actions that are always available. Grapple. Knocks down an enemy in your space or defeats a knocked down enemy with a success. Search. Lets you draw search cards from the building you're currently in. These could be cards important to your scenario objective, resources or equipment to use, or dangerous hazards. Successes let you draw more cards or gain resources. And assist. Gain a trust token and possibly help other survivors to gain focus or trust or to lose stress. Speaking of stress, for each stress token you have when taking an action, you must also roll 1 stress die. A result of a threat symbol will increase the threat track by 1, while a fear symbol will trigger the fear effect of the card you played for the turn. These are bad. Once every player has played a card, taken 1 maneuver and 1 action, and discarded their card, we move on to the event phase. Follow any special rules in the active event, and if at least one person didn't trigger the event's ability, the leader receives a stress token. Then it's the walker phase. First, if any corpse tokens appear on the board as the result of a card or other effect, it gets replaced with a knocked down walker now. Then, any walker that isn't knocked down gets activated, starting with walkers sharing a space with survivors. Survivors there must exert between them a number of times equal to the number of walkers. Walkers that aren't sharing a space with survivors move 1 space closer to the nearest human figure, starting with the walkers directly adjacent to humans. Then, any knocked down walkers get stood back up again. Barricades stop walkers from moving if the number of walkers trying to move through one is equal to or less than the number of barricades present there. If walkers outnumber the barricades, 1 is removed, and if there are none left after that, they continue to the next space. After activation, if the threat track is not at 0, then new walkers are spawned. Spawn the number of walkers indicated by the level of the threat track by drawing a map card. This will determine what space on the board they'll appear in. Each walker spawned gets its own new map card. If the threat track spot is red, then you spawn a more dangerous special walker instead. Then move the track down 1, and repeat these steps for the next number and so on until the threat tracker is reset back to 0. The top map card of the discard pile also determines which direction walkers will move in if there is a tie for the nearest human on the board. The final phase is the objective phase, during which you check to see if you've completed your current objective on the scenario sheet. If you have, you move on to the next one, and if it's your final objective, you've won the game. Then the leader can spend 1 trust token to transfer leadership to the player to their left. They must do this if they have 3 stress tokens, and a new round begins. If at any time during the game you need to provide a game component such as a trust token, stress token, resource, or walker and are unable to, then you must resolve something called group tension. This means that your morale goes down by 1 unless everyone in the group can discard a trust token to prevent it. Remember, hitting 0 morale means you lose the game. You may also be playing with strangers, who you'll need to use an action on to rescue, or rivals, who move around the board and cause various negative effects. If playing with fewer than 4 players, then some players need to control allies, the flipped sides of their survivor sheets, who don't get their own decks, but instead act according to actions and maneuvers printed on their sheets. In conclusion, move, search, attack, complete objectives, defeat the Walking Dead, or become them. That's The Walking Dead, no sanctuary in a nutshell. Did you get all that?